Welcome to another episode of What's the Word podcast. Your boy Dyckman Drew, and I have if multitask was a person, then that's who I'm dealing with today. I have a poet, a published author, an educator, the man behind the Ballers Journal podcast, right?
Beyond the Journal podcast.
Beyond the Journal podcast and the Ballers Journal magazine.
Yeah. Shout out to my partner Aaron.
Yes, sir. Mr. Lawrence Raysor.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you, man. I'm excited to be on your show. I was hoping I get a chance to be on your show.
Awesome. I appreciate you, boss. What's good, man? How you holding up?
I'm all right, man. I'm doing well, man. I've been struggling to keep it to myself, but throughout COVID and the pandemic and everything, I've been doing really well for myself, man.
God bless, man, because
everybody's
going through what they're going through in their own ways. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. That's why it's hard for me to even say anything out loud. You know what I mean? I know everybody's going through something. So humbly and gratefully, I've been doing pretty well.
God bless, man. Absolutely. So where do you want to start, Mr. Raysor? Well, let's give the people a little rundown of who you are and what you got going and what's behind you.
Yeah, no doubt. So a lot of the people, a lot of New York City people know me as Lawrence Raysor, one half of the Ballers Journal. And how that all started, my partner and I, our kids were in camp together. And I just, I'm the type of dude, if kids are struggling around me, I'm gonna help them. That's just who I am, right? Yep. So her son was struggling with something on the court and I helped him out. And she caught wind of it and pulled me to the side and was like, kind of like, who are you? And so we got to talking and our kids were playing more and more that summer. And then I asked her to read something of mine because she was in business and I just wanted a random person's opinion. I'm like that. You know what I mean? I like to get random people's opinions because that feedback is everything when you're trying to build something, right? That's so right. She gave me the opinion and she was like, this is really good stuff. You're a pretty talented writer, but I don't know how I can help you. And slowly but surely we kept talking and she wanted to highlight the people in New York City's basketball scene that she was meeting. And I wanted to highlight the kids and the games that were being played. And so we came together and came up with this idea called the Ballers Journal. And we started doing pieces and these pieces started turning into like mini biographies of like important people and just people in general in the basketball world. So, our first articles, I did one on Coach V over at Millbank. One of the basketball players at Gauchos, I think he's 11U, Vaughn. And then I did one on Magic Mel. I did one on his brother Reem. I did one on Scooter. I did one on Randy over at Force. We started to paint the landscape of New York City basketball, especially like the younger kids and everything, and highlighting it. And it caught on like wildfire. Next thing you know, everybody wants us at their events. And it wasn't a thing like we were popping or we were hot. It was more like we were showing so much love. People wanted that love to spread because that's all we're about. You know what I mean? So we were just showing love to people who had been doing the thing. And they were like, come show us love. And we were like, we all for it, man. But it was more like it was less about being national and crazy. It was just like put New York City back on the map for basketball. And that's what we did. And then from there, people liked our personalities together because we used to do like these little skits to advertise our next pieces or our next articles because she goes ham with the photography, right? So every time we put something together, it was like an art mashup. So and then to do that for someone's life story was just a beautiful thing, right? So we started doing these little like commercial bits and skits, and people were like, "Yo, your dynamics are tough. So why don't y'all do like a podcast?" So we started doing a podcast, and I think I don't know how many episodes deep. We're like 35 episodes deep into a podcast series, and we basically look at the world from a parent's point of view, So, and that's how we got that start there.
That's what's up, man. I respect that because when you think of New York basketball nowadays, for some reason, people automatically think the past players. And I don't think that they shed enough light on the kids that we still have in the city, like Scooter's kids. Scooter goes hard with them boys. You know what I mean? And Mel and Reem are different.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And it was interesting to get the side of them that I did. A lot of people see them on Instagram and they see the basketball. When I see Mel, first Mel knows the first question I'm gonna ask him: how's school?
How's school? Yeah.
What are your grades looking like? When I see Scooter, first thing I'm gonna ask him is how's the missus? How's the family? How's your health? when you're doing things like what you're doing right now, right? When
Yep.
you're interviewing people and it gets to a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
you owe that relationship a different type of respect. It ain't no Hollywood relationship. Like
Right.
if something, God forbid, were to happen to one of them or any of the people I interviewed and they needed something from me, what's up? How can I help? You know what I mean? And then in that, I believe in that, because in that, like that shared struggle or that shared success, we build community, and that's how we get stronger. So I'm all about that. It was a dope experience, man. It's been dope.
Fire. That's
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
And what's the attachment that you have to basketball? You hoop yourself?
Yeah,
Talk about it.
I've been playing ball since I was 6, man. I'm a street ball kid. Like, you know, when I was younger, my pops wasn't really around to take me to all these tournaments and these leagues. So I was in the park. I grew up downtown Manhattan in Stuyvesant Town. So like Stuyvesant Town, we used to get the kids from Campos and Phipps Plaza. I don't know if you know, people know the Lower East Side, but Phipps was, you know, they had some tough competition in there. And then Campos definitely had some ball players. Even some people from the Ave down by like Houston and Boys Club down there. I'm also a Boys Club kid, right? So Tompkins Square Park, Boys Club of New York. So I played a lot of basketball coming up. And anybody who's played ball in New York knows, you play ball in New York, you in like a fraternity, man. You're gonna be knowing people for the rest of your life. Forever. I got guys that I haven't seen for 20, 30 years. I see them now, and it's all love. Whatever it was on the court, it's all love now. So yeah, I'm a heavy basketball player. Like I haven't played as much anymore because now transition into dad mode. I got two 11-year-old twins and an 8-year-old, and they all play ball. They all play ball. So I'm just a chauffeur now.
Yeah, your plate is full.
Yeah. So I love basketball though. I also coached for I coached basketball for about 12 or 13 years on a middle school level. And then I was training high school and college ball players, and I was hosting my own open gym. I live and love the sport, man. You know, and I study the game down to the 10th of the second. My sons hate watching basketball with me because we're gonna watch one play about 30 times to see how it happens.
Got you. I mean? Yeah, but that's how you get it. You know what I mean?
That IQ.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I love ball, man. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So this magazine that you have for the inner city, talk to me about that.
All right, so the Ballers Journal basically is we want it to be a situation where anyone who is doing anything major or anyone who has had an impact on other people's lives gets a chance to get themselves in the spotlight. So it's not a sense of you got to be the greatest ball player like Mel and Reem, right? It's not about that at all. It's all about like, what are you doing for our community? Because at the basis of this entire setup, even beyond the journal with my partner Aaron, at the basis of this entire setup, it was about painting the New York City landscape, but just developing an atmosphere where people feel comfortable showing love, and that's that. There's no hate, there's no fear. We all comfortable with each other's stories. We show love. That's it. So when we show up to a place, we bring love, and love comes to us. And we build. So it's a community builder. Really, it started off as like a magazine idea, but it's really a community builder. And that's what we're both about.
That's what's up. And how long have you been doing the magazine aspect of it?
Man, we've been doing this since, 2021? I want to say, I think we just had our 2-year anniversary in February. So maybe like almost 2.5 years we've been doing this, man. And I don't know how many pieces we've done, but it's been awesome because, like I said, a lot of people invite us in and show us love. But like, think about Dyckman, right? Dyckman Park. We are on Dyckman's staff there now. As the journalist, basically, right? And Kenny, a lot of people don't know this. Kenny and I go way back beyond this because I taught Junior in school, and I also coached Junior on my middle school team when he was in school. So I remember calling Kenny and being like, "Yo, it's time." Kenny will come up to the school, pull Junior out by his ear, and be like, Mr. Raysor, can I speak to you for a second? I come out in the hallway. He got Junior hemmed up. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm going to turn and look the other way because I ain't supposed to see all of this. I'm a mandated reporter or whatever. He was like, nah, we going to get him right. And you know what? We got him right. You know, and I'm the type of guy as an educator, if I build a relationship with you, it's till you don't need it anymore. It's not till I'm done. It's till you don't need it anymore. Because I feel like a lot of relationships are built for the sake of proximity. Like, we're in the same space, so let's have a relationship. You can't do that with children who have actually sacrificed their egos. Because when they're younger, all they know is their egos. And to get them to believe in themselves, you got to get them to believe in you. right?
Yeah.
And but you believing in me requires a relationship. I'm not going to have you believe in me so you can get 4s and 3s on a test and then say, whoa, I'm done. I'm not doing that. You understand what I'm saying? So I stuck with Junior, and Junior, we still talk. Me and little Kenny, we still talk on a regular basis. He was hyped when he saw that I put out a book, right? A lot of my guys were, a lot of my younger guys were. So with Kenny, when he sees me, it's all hugs and smiles. We don't care about basketball, Baller's Journal, nothing. But that's how a lot of the relationships turned out to be through Baller's Journal. You understand what I mean? Absolutely. So it's just been a crazy journey, because some of these parks and these people who run the parks and the tournaments, they're regular people. You find out, you know what I mean? And when you find out that they're regular people with great stories, it makes you want to build with them even more. These ain't corporate execs up here just trying to get a dollar. These are guys trying to serve their communities. And I'm all about that, all about that. So the magazine just slowly but surely started to pick up. And it wasn't even like we were seriously promoting it. I actually don't believe in, my fault, I actually don't believe in seriously promoting things to the point where it goes like national and it gets out of pocket. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm a firm believer in let's build something small and exclusive and let everybody else come and knock in, and we decide who we let in. You feel me? So that's what the Ballers Journal became. We made something so exclusive that people from all over other states were like, yo, we want a story. Can you do a story on this person, do a story on that? And we were like, we'll get to that. We just got to cover New York City. You know what I mean? Okay. Loyalty. Yes, loyalty.
So. No, that's absolutely dope, man, because as an educator, how you see what you're out here doing, I don't think there's enough of that, because it's like more so you're in my class for 9 months, you're out of my class, I don't see you again. You know what I mean? And it's over. And I think that if enough teachers were concerned about the actual child and not what time it is, so that they can punch the clock and go home to their own kids. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, for 8 hours a day, my kids are your kids.
That's and that statement right there, I need every teacher to understand, because as a parent now, right? It's different if I'm just an educator, but as a parent, I go ham, right? Like I go ham at being a father. I'm a very active parent. My wife and I were very active in our sons' lives, right? So when I let go of that, I got to let go of that with some serious trust. You know, these kids are precious cargo. How dare you come in here and collect a check and go home, fam? And especially, I teach middle school. We've been through 7th grade and 6th grade. These kids, this is their first, maybe their only time. Let's get it right. We're not in the school system building shelves. And if these shelves get called back, we could put out more shelves. This is an actual life, one-of-a-kind life. You better take serious consideration before you make a dumb move with these kids. I don't play that. And I definitely don't play that with my black and brown children, right? Because we already behind the 8 ball.
Yes, sir.
So how dare anybody come into our community and not serve them the way they're supposed to be served? Oh, I check teachers. I don't play that.
Good for you.
I don't play that. We need that, man, especially in our black and brown community.
No, 100%, 100%. So what was it that made you want to go in the direction you're going in, as far as like with the children and the basketball for New York City? Like, what brought that out of you?
It was I don't think people understand how the game is evolving. So I say that to say this, like, if you look at, which is crazy, this is so crazy to me, Steph Curry had a highlight film. I don't know if you caught this, a 20-minute highlight film of just the threes he shot last month. What are you talking about? Like, yo, I watched this man shoot, and I'm watching him just warm up. You know how you have pay attention to a warm up or whatever, and he's working out. So I realized I'm like 5 minutes into my man's workout, and I'm like, he hasn't missed. And you know, you watch somebody shoot around, they're gonna miss once in a while, you know, but he didn't make it. Got so bad. That's why he started throwing up like finger rolls all the way up to the ceiling. He had to challenge himself. So now you've got little kids with access to superstars that they've never had before because of YouTube, because of World Star, because of video games. I can learn moves. I can not only learn moves, I can learn workouts.
Their routine.
I can mimic your routine, right? So now I'm training like you. When they were young, our age, I was doing the Michael Jordan up and then switch that he did against the Lakers home in Chicago, right? So I'm doing this and practicing this. These kids are practicing behind the back, behind the back, behind the back, through the legs, tween, all these combos. So you have to understand that the skill level is like completely different from what we're used to, and it's starting much younger. Not only because the kids have access, but now the people who've caught wind of the money they can make off of these kids are now looking even sooner and even earlier. Colleges are looking even sooner and even earlier. So we're missing it if we're not covering it. You're missing the real story. By the time they get up there, it's already planned out for you. You're going to be on ESPN. You're going to be on Sports Illustrated. Sports Center is going to cover this. The college is going to cover that. But when they're little kids, nobody's showing how much work they're putting in, all that love. Nobody's showing the parents that's getting them to the practices love. Nobody's showing the leagues that are setting them up, so that we got to start celebrating our communities. And it's all mom and pop-ups, you know what I mean? Not everybody's as big as Hoops in the Sun or Dyckman or Rucker Park, you know what I mean? Some of these mom and pops, little pop-ups, you see some kids you ain't never seen before because they can't get on elsewhere. I believe in that. I believe in finding a way to circumvent what's already established to establish a new. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
So let me ask you something, because I'm 45, right? So coming up in like from 90 and up, you always heard about the powerhouses. And if they weren't powerhouse high schools, each high school had at least 2-3 dudes. And it was like you had the LaSalle's, you had the Rice, you had the O'Hallows, the Hayes, and you had all these schools. Whereas now you're seeing these kids leave the city as early as possible. It's like from what I'm getting from it, it's like they get into 8th grade, their parents are looking like, okay, I don't like what I'm seeing yet. Let's go somewhere so he can be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, maybe. Because at one point, any school you went to, whether it was public school or the archdiocese, you had killers. You had schools like Watley that had Roscoe. You know what I mean? And Wendell, and then you got the Catholic schools like Rice that's loaded with 12 D1 basketball players. You know what I'm saying? Whereas now you see a lot of these kids. First of all, I don't agree with this ranking these kids best 3rd grader in the country, best 5th grader in the country, because then by the time the kid is 14, the expectations are so high and the pressure is so immense on these kids' shoulders that if they take a notch off, it's like, oh, nah, he's a bum. Where's the next one? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of these kids are just feeding into it because of the social medias and all the platforms. And it's like everybody's looking for a better situation for themselves instead of creating that situation for themselves.
Yes.
Where do you think we went wrong, and why do you think New York is losing all these kids?
So I love that question. First of all, unfortunately for New York, what started to happen is we started to become pigeonholed into the type of basketball we were playing.
Okay.
When you start to leave New York City, the way they focus on developing the game in a lot of other places, you can be a big man and get developed as a big man. You can be a swingman or a wingman and be developed as a wingman. You can be a shooter and have a team that runs plays for their shooters. Now, when you come to New York City, we've always been handle dominant. Right. And also another big factor that a lot of people don't discuss is we're not growing really big kids
at all
in New York City. Right. So what you have when you're not growing really big kids is you lose big man competition. So now your big man can't really prove himself playing against these little dudes. He's got to go prove himself elsewhere. And guess what? If the big man goes, then the guard's got to go too, because what are you showing me that you can play with a bunch of smaller guys, but when you come to D1, D2, I got big trees I need you to work with, and I need you to run this program, right? So we're not making point guards first, and that's the other thing. The last thing is we're not making point guards like we were when we were making Omar Cook, Andre Barrett, Tyleek Brown. You understand? We were making point guards at that time. Now everybody on the court almost in AAU ball can run the one, right? So we're developing winning teams in a lot of spaces, but we're not developing the actual players. in a lot of spaces. So these players have to go to programs that specialize in sending kids to D1, D2. That's another thing. A lot of these schools and these other programs have pipelines into D1 and D2. Whereas in New York, it's a little more of a struggle. And the other part of New York is mad cutthroat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crabs in a barrel, bro.
Yeah, it's very political. And I noticed that when I used to rap, right? So I rapped for about 16 years. And back when I was rapping, it was showcases. That's what was going on, right? So for those of you who don't know, when you do a showcase, you're going to have a night where you show up at about 7 p.m. to a club or a lounge. And now you could go on anywhere between 7 p.m. to 12 p.m. Right? Or 1 a.m. And each artist gets like 2 to 3 songs at most. And you're sitting around waiting your turn. And it's always poorly organized, right? So you're sitting around waiting your turn. And the only people who are going to cheer for you are your people. So you out here, it looks like there's a big crowd. You got 5 people in the crowd that want to hear you. Everybody else is waiting for their own person. The basketball game is just like that. People are not looking out for each other the same way they are supposed to. So that was my whole approach. I want us all to look out for each other and do a better job of competing as a state and as a city, right? Because when I was doing rap and I would do shows in other places, like I went to Oakland and I did a show in Oakland. My people were out there. I was sitting there watching it. It would look like a showcase setup. It wasn't. Everybody was singing everybody else's songs because they all buy each other's music.
Yeah.
Somebody put out a record, we all go and buy it. We go and buy. How do you not win when you're doing that?
Yep.
Right? Because now you got an exclusive fan base. Yeah. If we could do the same thing with basketball, that we all chip in and we all offer help to everybody else, but it's so much backbiting, and especially now in AAU. This is one of the reasons why I stopped coaching, because it gets political.
Yes.
And there's so much backbiting. It's like, if my son doesn't play, I'm thinking about taking him to another program. And it's like, but you know how much work we've been putting in practice with your kid, and we working on your son's confidence. Nah, we want to see the numbers. And I'm like, exactly. Numbers don't equal development when you talking children. Now you're acting like the people who are testing our kids, talking about our kids ain't great unless they get 3s and 4s on the test. But my kid's an artist. Forget this test. My kid's going to construct a building one day. It ain't got nothing to do with your test, right? Yeah. It's the same with basketball. There are certain aspects of the game, of a kid's game, that have to develop before that kid can start doing all these moves and doing that. If a kid lacks confidence, you can't take him anywhere. No. You can't do anything with him, right? No. So I'm the type of coach, I'm going to build your confidence if you need confidence. If you need a left hand, I'm going to build your left hand. If you're a big man, you need post, I'm going to build post moves. I'm going to also teach you handle, but we got to develop you as a full player. And I feel like we don't have enough people dedicated to that in New York City. And we also have too many people dedicated to the win for the program. Yeah. You know what I mean? And your program can't be more important than the kid.
Absolutely.
Or else what are you doing?
Yep.
And so that's what happens. And now it becomes a lot more attractive when you get these out-of-towner coaches and programs discussing what they can do for the player and how they can develop the player. And then you look at it, there's so much more organized too, because it's a lot less focused on politics, because there's a lot less competition out there. If there's a basketball team in a town, everybody plays for that team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Something like that. And then the AAU teams might be an extension off of the school's team. We don't have that here. It's a free-for-all. So free agency is huge here in New York City.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I think, I agree with you 100%. What I don't like, that I see a lot of, is you get these parents that want to, like, exploit, basically. Like, their kid, they're exploiting their kid. Some of them are trying to, like, live vicariously through their kids. Some of them are mad that their kid was born when they were born and they weren't born now, and they don't have that whole social media era thing. And I just think that they're teaching the kids the wrong things. They're building selfish players and selfish children, because now these kids are just worried about putting up a video and how many likes they can get on it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. And then you get these parents that they expect their kids to be a certain way by a certain age. And it's like, okay, we're going to reclassify.
That's another thing.
Do you know what that entails? Like, a lot of these people don't get it. Everybody shouldn't reclassify.
Word.
There are some kids, you know what I mean, that you know what, that 1 year would give them what they didn't get, because maybe on the team they were on, they were the 2 studs ahead of him, and he might have been the one, like, I'll do a little bit of everything, that might have gotten overlooked. So you know what? Let him get another shot. if he needs it, or if he needs it for the grades to get into college. So there are ways that is good, but everybody out here is like, okay, if by 12th grade or 11th grade, I don't see that my son is going to get that D1 scholarship, we're going to reclassify.
Yep.
Everybody's not a Division I basketball player.
So I completely agree with you. We had this conversation on my show about reclassifying and what it meant, right? So people have been asking me, would I reclass the Twins? The Twins have been playing ball, I want to say they've been playing ball since they were 2, working out. Yeah, I mean, so it was like this when they were born. I was strictly like, it's going to be education of basketball. So they would sit in their little bassinets and they would watch educational shows, and then it would be NBA TV at all times. We had a hoop in the house. Yeah, you already know. Y'all not watching anything else. What else you gonna watch, right? So then we always had the hoop in the house. Yeah, we've been working on their form since they were younger, and then when they were like 2.5, 3, they wanted to start. Well, we started taking them to little programs, and people were working them out at 2 and 3, and they were learning the game. Now, people are asking, are you going to reclassify them because they're younger? Like if their birthday were about 2 weeks later, they'd be playing a year down, but they missed the deadline by like 2 weeks, right? So they're really close to the deadline. They could reclass; it would be no problem. Here's the deal. I don't know that both twins are playing college ball.
Exactly. At 11 years old, they're asking if you're going to reclassify these babies.
Right.
They're not even in high school yet.
And also, that's not all my sons do. Like my sons are chess players. One of my sons wants to be an actor, right? They all write. And I put my sons through the ringer. They read every morning, no matter school or not, 7 days a week. They read. You have to do a certain regimen before you can even touch an electronic. So I had to explain this to my son because my son was like, it's frustrating when I get on the court and I miss, or I do this wrong and I do that wrong. And he wants to shut down. And I said, listen, you get your perfectionist mentality from your dad, right? But let me explain to you how it kills your confidence. You need to understand that in life, you are filling up buckets at all times, right? You have a bucket for basketball. You have a bucket for baseball, a bucket for football, a bucket for math, a bucket for science, a bucket for writing, right? You are sprinkling something in every little bucket every single day. You're going to have guys like my man Heck from Riverside, Little Heck. Shout out to my nephew, Little Heck. You're going to have guys like Heck whose bucket in basketball is like through the roof, right? And he puts a lot of his attention into that bucket, and some of the other buckets are going to suffer. You got to understand that about yourself. You talk to Big Heck and you talk to Little Heck, and they're like, it's NBA or bust, period. We have chosen our career path. My sons have not chosen their career path. So me having them repeat a year in school and reclassifying is dangerous and possibly detrimental to their development in other buckets.
Facts.
So I'm not going to have them reclassifying. I don't know what they want to do. And that's okay. It's okay if you want to reclassify. That's cool. I don't really like it because we came from an era where, you're a ringer. You know what I mean? I come from the ringer class. I don't remember when this got cool.
That's a fact.
You feel me?
That's a fact.
So for me, it's also a shell shock kind of deal because I remember playing against older dudes and feeling like this was unfair and this is whack, at least in tournament play. Now, if we're in the street, you could be however old you want to be.
Yeah, that don't matter.
If we're in tournament play, let's keep it, so there's that, right? But then the flip side of it is you got to understand how this works, right? So now, you don't mind if I drop a little science, right? All right, so Pete, appreciate it. So Pete, when you think about how we're separated in society, and you look at us black and brown people down here, we're not necessarily just in the lower class or middle class. We're in what's called the consumer class, right? So when you think about capitalism is not just about if I got a product, you buy it, you pay me money. It's not just that. Capitalism is about ownership and owning the tools to produce more. Absolutely. All right. So what they do is they relegate us, which means they set us in this consumer class, which happened a long time in history. I'm a history teacher, so I've been studying it. They put us in the consumer class after we had gotten rid of slavery. We got through the Jim Crow South and all of that. And now we're part of society. They want to see how they can work us in. Boom. Put us in the consumer class. What that means is all we're good for is buying products and being employees. Right. So now whenever they look down in this consumer class and they see somebody who's filled up a bucket, they like, let's grab that one. Let's put him in a position so he can be successful and he can give us everything out of that bucket and we will drain him dry. Now, the hope is we can give this person money And this person can keep producing whatever's coming out of that bucket. But as soon as that person goes dry, se acabó, and we're going to the next person, right?
Done.
And so we, as a result, we think, I got to make myself look shiny and new, and I got to make sure my bucket looks good just in case anybody from up there in that other class comes reaching down in, right? And in New York, it's the worst. So we crabs in a barrel like crazy in New York. So now you have these parents, some of these parents who were not successful at being basketball players, or some of these parents who see new opportunities and they're like, yo, we can get out of the consumer class. We can't do too much to help other people because we don't want them taking from our bucket, and we don't want them putting in their bucket what could be going in your bucket.
Yes.
And so now, by any means necessary, I'm going to get you out this consumer class. When in reality, if you look at what I'm doing with the Ballers Journal or with Beyond the Journal, or even what I'm doing with my book, because I self-published my book, right?
Yeah.
If you look at what I'm doing, I'm all about let's create that exclusive and then have them come and knocking, right? But it's hard for people to understand that, and it's hard for people to think long-term when they live in short-term. So it's hard. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm all about showing love and giving education. If I can give you anything, it's a gem that I have you working your way out of the consumer class rather than waiting on being picked.
Absolutely.
We ain't got time for that.
Yeah. That's a whole fact. That's a whole fact.
Sure.
So the writing aspect of what you do as an author is something you always wanted to do?
It's something my mother always wanted me to do. Since I was like 6, my mom was saying, you know, you're going to be an author and you're going to work with children. I don't know how she did that.
Yeah,
right?
She got it right, though.
She was all the way right. Yeah, she got it right. So I was doing poetry for a bit, right, as a young kid. And then I hit like 15 and I was going to A. Philip Randolph on 135th and Convent, right?
Yes, sir.
So now I'm in there, and a bunch of shout out to my man Don Paul. I'm in there, and my man Don Paul was a rapper at the time, and we had there was a bunch of rappers, and you know, it's Harlem in the 90s, late 90s. So there's a bunch of rappers. So he sees my poetry and he's like, you should start rapping. Little did he know he opened the door to, I don't know how many mixtapes and albums that I did independently. And I was rapping from age 16 to like 32, doing short shows on the low in different small spots in the country, and doing my own show downtown Manhattan and Harlem. I was doing my own shows and putting other rappers on, right? Everything independent, always, like seriously independent. Yeah. And a lot of it was off of relationships. I do wonders with relationships. One hand wash the other type, right?
Yep.
So it never dawned on me to write like the pieces that I have in the Ballers Journal or the pieces that I have in the book, because I was so wrapped up. And you know, with rap, it's like it's you can't be too sensitive in rap, right? And even when you are sensitive, you got to have mad bravado. And my mother used to tell me, and my grandfather, may he rest in peace, that was my ace. He used to tell me all the time, rap is too small for you. It's too limiting. And I never got it. I used to be like, yo, I'm nice. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm nice. I'm going to get picked. You feel me? Right? Yep. And so it wasn't until like later, maybe like a couple years back, I said, I'm going to start putting other type of writing out and see what I can do, because the rap game, you think the basketball game is cutthroat, rap is cutthroat.
It's
like
worse.
I was gonna catch a body in the rap music, and then and now you talking about not only taking money from me, but you taking money and time. And I got kids now, and my kids love their father. You feel me? Like you got a lot of nerve getting me out here, and I get here and I'm waiting 3 hours in the studio, and then you never show up. I'm paying for studio. I don't play those types of games, right? And I wasn't trying to be that kind of man in the street that's coming to get his money, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had to get my life together. I had to get out of there. And I took a complete turn. I took a step back from creating anything, and I sat back, and I couldn't stop the flow of writing. And it was like, I don't want to rap though. And the poetry started coming out. I was like, all right, cool. I'll write some poetry. It's whatever. You know, I'll put out a poetry page. It's nothing. It's not taking anything. Then I started writing that Ballers Journal stuff. And I was like, nah, I can actually write. Like, and then I started comparing myself to established writers, because again, I'm sitting here waiting. Somebody's going to pick up the Ballers Journal. Somebody's going to pick up my poetry and say, hey, we want to give you a deal. I'm still thinking rapper mentality, trying to get a deal. Absolutely. Why are you waiting to get a deal in a day where we 10 years removed from Soulja Boy getting himself a record deal off of YouTube and Justin Bieber? What are you doing? Self-published, So it wasn't even a matter. Somebody asked me like, yo, what was your inspiration? It wasn't even an inspiration deal. It was more like, do you have the guts to do this on your own? And I had to man up. I had to actually practice what I was preaching at the time, you know, because I was preaching to everybody, yo, don't wait for anybody. Go for yours. And if I can't give you the answers, I probably know somebody that has the answers. I'll link y'all up. Go for yours, man. You don't owe me anything but your success. That's how I tell people.
Fire.
That's it. You know what I mean? So it was about the bravery, bro. And then in my poetry, one thing I learned about art is you can get to a certain level where you own your craft and art, and then it becomes like second nature. And when art becomes an extension like of your thoughts and your feelings and your sentiments, and it starts to be a case where like you don't even have to think when you pick up the pen or when you pick up the brush or when you pull up that microphone, you don't, or the piano, whatever you do, where you don't have to think, and it's like your thoughts are running through your fingertips. Now you've hit another level, and it's like, what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
So I decided what I wanted to do with it was in my poems and in my essays in the back of the book, I wanted to embed gems and advice. I want people to understand what I'm talking to you about right now. We don't need anybody else. Yes. We can build our own. Right. Absolutely. So it's becoming sort of like a revolutionary move, because not only are people getting these thoughts and ideas in their head that they don't need to be picked, they're reading too. I got people, look, bro, I got people in the hood talk about
that. Show that book.
So this is the book, right? This is LABOYZ Presents Haikus and Things, right? And it's called Introducing the Sanru. Now, the reason I did that, Japanese Sanru is a haiku, but regular haikus are like about earth, trees, plants, yada, yada. Nah, we're going to talk about real life. And there's actually a genre, Sanru, which is about talking about humans through the haiku, right? So I put this book out, and in the book, you have your love poems. You have your poems about like anger and hurt and all of that. But you also have poems about the police. You got poems about like capitalism. You got poems about history and the government. And then in the back, the essays, I'm talking to you about how to see yourself differently, how to see the world differently. I'm trying to get people in the hood reading again, right? But not only are they reading and they're entertained, they walking away with something that they could build with. So in this book, what I did was I made it 4 different sections. In the first section, I got like 40 haikus, real quick hits. But in the haikus, I'm using the titles and the content in the poem to send a message, right? Then I got a free form part. That free form is just regular poetry, same old, same old. Now, the third part is more like a rant where like this could go on for a couple of pages, but you can't stop reading it because it's one person's thoughts going on for a rant, and it covers like a wide range of things. And it's somewhat comedic as well. So it's funny. And then the last part is essays. Now, I want to put out a couple more of these. Bro, I got mad poetry, mad essays. The way I put this together was in my writing folder, all I did was go through A through F just to see what poems I had. I picked the poems and I put together a book. I still haven't seen F through Z. I don't even know what I got because I've just been writing over the years. So now, and I've been afraid to put it out because I'm like, nobody want to read poetry. Ain't nobody feeling poetry. It ain't rap. You know what I mean? But people are hip to it. Now people are more open-minded. You look at the rap game is more open-minded. You even look at basketball. You see so many dudes, you like, he can't hoop. And then you're like, yo, he hoops. Every game is wide open. Anybody could be anything, right? So I want to put out a couple more of these. And in addition to this, now that I self-publish, I want to turn LABOYZ Presents into a publishing company, right? Nice. You ain't got to go through the majors. We can distribute. So all I got to do is establish my own fan base and my own supporters, get exclusive, loyal supporters. Next thing you know, I'm putting out my books. They looking for these gems. If you can put out something similar, let's put it out. It don't even have to be a book. It could be an art. It could be a song. Whatever we do, we're going to publish to our people, and we're going to build that exclusive. I also got another endeavor I'm doing where in 1909, W.E.B. Du Bois put out a book called The New Negro. It was all of the black writers at the time during the Harlem Renaissance. And he had them writing about all the issues for black and brown people, racism, but also promoting the culture. I want to do a 2021 version or whenever it comes out, right? And I get a bunch of scholars, writers, artists, or whatever. And I want to get I want to DJ Khaled it, where I'm not laying the beat down, but I'm laying down the prompt. You got to answer this question for me, right? So now as you answer this question, you could be an essay writer, you could be a preacher, you could be a ball player, you could just write from your experience, fam. And I want to put together this anthology, but I don't just want it to be writing. I want it to be photography. I want it to be painting. I want it to be drawing, whatever you can do to answer this question. You feel me? And then put this anthology out. And now not only do you have people reading and checking out the arts from our own people, you got people thinking like, wait a minute, why are we celebrating everybody else's culture but our own? Why are we sitting around waiting to be picked when we the source? We've always been the source. Why you think they keep coming down here to pick? We the source. It's just a matter of they come down picking the sources that are least distracted. so that they could distract them themselves.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
100%.
I got big plans, bro, and the plans are for us, man. If I eat, we eat. It's how I live.
So let me ask you something. Inner city dude yourself, like you said, late 90s, you in the hood because A. Philip Randolph is in the hood, son.
Word.
Right? You a rapper for 16 years.
Yeah.
It takes a certain type of confidence to be able to get up on stage, recite your songs, not knowing what kind of feedback you're going to get back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when you're a rapper and you're from New York. The bar is always say hi because they're going to compare you to whoever's the hottest. They're not going to compare you to people, your peers. They're going to compare you to Jay and Nas. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So putting that mic down, but picking up the pen, what type of confidence is needed for an inner city dude that, I don't know, when you were a teenager, if you would have picked up your own book or in your early 20s, you know what I mean? So talk about the confidence that you need in yourself to be able to come out and take that route.
That's an excellent question. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was not easy.
Can't be, bro. It can't be.
Because you in rap, when you in rap, and I talk about that bravado, that machismo, right? You wearing that like armor, bro. You can't be touched. You can say whatever you want. And plus, I used to battle, right?
Okay.
And so now in battling, you develop like a severe confidence, like nobody can touch me. I'm Allen Iverson on the mic right now. Like I don't care how small I am. I don't care if I'm not signed. You got to come see me. You got to come through here to come get it, right?
Yep.
Then you take all that off and you want to sit here and talk about putting your soul on the surface to be vulnerable. Whoa. Even now, I still struggle to read my stuff out loud to people sometimes because it's a visceral effect on me, bro. This is the outside. This is the inside coming out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That rap stuff is surface, bro. I could do 2 + 2 = 4 all the time. But now when you got to dissect the number and how did we get here, it's like, oh, I could mess up explaining this or I could mess up. It's different. So the one thing that helped me was the love I got from the Ballers Journal. In the Ballers Journal, I really like how I put it. So if you got majors putting out books and publishing books, you got a certain format. I was really messing with formats, man. I would have poems in the middle of stuff, and it wasn't like I'm featuring somebody else. No, I'm writing my own poem to explain this part. Or like with Scooter's piece, the piece starts off with this dope poem about being a fatherless child and how to make it and the struggles it is, and then it goes right into the intro. And then I get into the intro, and I'm sending messages, and I'm dancing around and play. Yo, I was having fun, and I realized, but the feedback from the community again. Right? The feedback from the community, yo, L, I read your stuff. I'm like, yo, fam, you read? Like, I've never seen you in a book. What are you talking about? You read. These ain't stats. You know what I mean? So that helped with the confidence as well. So one, I'm already seeing myself now as I'm looking at it on the screen, I'm like, yo, people are checking me out. Like they'd rather read my stuff than the Times. So now I'm looking at other writers like, y'all are not up here. Y'all are my peers. That's a confidence booster. So then people are like, yo, when's the next piece coming out? That's a confidence booster, right? And then I have my own poetry page and I start to see people are reposting my poetry. That's a confidence booster. And mind you, I've had, now this is not TMI, but it's funny you asked the question about like the confidence. I've had low confidence my entire life.
Got you.
I've never been tall. Drew, I'm like 5'9", right? And you know, as in basketball, that's short.
Yeah.
You know, I could be 5'9", 5'10", and be taller than a lot of other people, but like we talking basketball world.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I've always had low confidence there, and I always tell my sons if there was one thing I could do to change my life, my basketball career, I would have way more confidence, right? Okay. So I've always had low confidence. I've always had low self-esteem, and I've always been the guy that'd be like, yo, L, that was fire. I'll be like, yo, I'm trying. And then somebody told me, you got to stop saying you trying and start saying you doing, because you're actually doing. Yes. You know what I mean? And it got harder for me to deny that I was being successful because I was getting opportunities that other people weren't getting. And then it's like, now it's like, you're going to spit in our face and take these opportunities and not do your thing with it? Or are you going to show us your worth and show us our worth and show us why you're better and lead the way? So it was like, step up and be a leader, or continue being a punk and acting like you don't want to show off. You know what I mean? And it wasn't about showing off. It was about paying homage and showing that I'm grateful for what's running through me. Because I tell my wife all the time, I don't know where some of this stuff comes from. I feel like she said it, you're like a vessel. I'm like a vessel. And if I'm a vessel, then we going to use me for us. And so it became less about me and more about, well, what do the people need to hear? And since I work with kids so closely, I know how I can write for kids to read. And if I can write for the kids to read, I can start writing for my mans to read too, and the homies. And the homies need to read, because when you look around, and that was another thing that gave me confidence. There's a need, bro. There's a need. You look around, what are we reading? They ain't putting out books for us.
No.
The first book I ever read straight through, I was 16 years old. Monster, Cody Scott. The LA Crip. It was the autobiography.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Homeboy did a drive-by on a bike at like 8 years old with a sword-off shotgun.
Some shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm in high school, and I'm like, yo, reading this cover to cover. And then when I'm teaching at a charter school in Harlem on the West Side, and they're yelling at the kids for reading urban fiction. I'm like, are you outside of your mind? Cody Scott turned me on to literature. How you sound? You never know. So I don't know if this might turn somebody on to literature. I gotta play my part. And I'm in the way of my blessings, and my blessings are our blessings. So what am I doing?
Yeah.
So all of that, you know what I mean? So I feel like, you know how they say don't be a product of your environment? I'm not a product of my environment. I'm a product of my community.
Well said.
Feel me?
Said. Yeah, because the thing is, like for us, like you said, you're from New York, right?
Yeah.
And when you're in that circle of, let's say, rap, hip hop, okay, you're gonna be around your peers, but pretty much everybody's gonna look like you. Everybody's gonna be talking about pretty much the same things. It's just how you say it is what's gonna separate yourself from what everybody else is listening to. It's the same thing as being an author, but to me, I think the stage is so much bigger.
Yeah, because you can talk about anything. You can talk about anything.
When you're a rapper, if you're a hardcore rapper, you're gonna have your hardcore fans. If you're a conscious rapper, you're gonna have your conscious fans. When you're an author, your fans could be the conscious, the gangster, the square, you know what I mean? So it's gotta be like, I just think it gotta be like nerve-wracking. Like
it is.
It is. You know what I mean?
Yo, and that's the whole thing. Like it took me a couple of days to even celebrate, because I was like, yo, I just published a book, bro. Like, what are they gonna say about this? Who's gonna buy it? Is anybody gonna buy it? And people are buying it. But the cool thing about it is people are not just buying it because they want to read. They buying it off the strength that, like, yo, that's L. L shows us mad love. Let's show L love. Yo, I'll support. I don't even know what this book is about, right? Yeah. I'm gonna buy it. So just putting that out there. And the funny thing is, I said on the back of the book, I said this book is for people who like poetry and people who don't, because there's something in here for everybody. And that's the way I've always been. I met Common on the plane. Big shout to Common. I was like, man, it was when I was flying. So when I went to A. Philip Randolph, I stayed there for about 3 years, and then I transferred to a prep school in California.
Okay.
All right. Through the Boys Club in New York. Shout out to Brad Zervas. Brad Zervas hooked me up, had me go out there on a scholarship. Right. So as I'm flying out there, I'm like 16. I see Common. This is the only time I've ever been starstruck, because I'm writing now and I know his skill. Yeah. So he's sitting up there and we're delayed. Yo, bro, this has probably been the corniest, cheesiest moment of my life. I'm just sitting here just staring at him. He's writing. He's got a pen out and pad, and he's writing. And then finally, after like 5 whole minutes of me staring at him, he's like, yo, shorty, can I help you? And I was like, I just want to say I love your music. I think you're amazing. I'm an up-and-coming artist. Is there anything you could give me, any gem you could drop so that I could just do better? He was like, just have a well-balanced attack. I said, all right. And then I sat there. I was about to interview, and he was like, but shorty, I got to get back to work. I was like, all right, no doubt, no doubt. So that was the only gem he gave me, right? And from that point on, if you go back and you listen to my music, I got music for the ladies. I got music for the fellas. I got music for the thugs. I got music for the kids. I got music for grown people that like to move. Like, that was my jam. So as you say, like, all the rappers are going to sound the same in New York, you know, you're going to sound like your peers. I used to get like funny looks for that. Because, yeah, we all rapping about the same, but I'm going to also throw this in here, too. And I'm going to throw that in there, right? Which is why I used to get shows out of town more than other people. Because I got more stuff. I got more. So now when you put together this book, I'm doing the same. I'm trying to make sure it's for everybody, man. Everybody. And as I get better at it, I'll be able to depict more of the people who are reading and asking, because I listen to feedback. That was the key to me getting better as a rapper. I listen.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
You know what I've gotten from this? I don't know if anybody's ever told you this before, but if they haven't, I'm glad I was the first one. But if you pay attention to what you've done, right? As far as like, okay, you're a young inner city kid, you're a rapper, but you have a love for writing, right? So you decide, I'm not going to rap anymore, but I love to write. So you have your poetry, you have the format in which you present your writings.
Yep.
It's the same as positionless basketball right now.
Ah, yes.
How you were saying earlier, before we had point guards, everybody could run the point. Now everybody plays basketball.
That's right.
Everything's evolving, right?
And that's the evolution of the writing. Because even now,
exactly.
I was writing a piece yesterday morning. So I wake up at like 3:30 every morning.
Okay.
And that's because it's the most peaceful time in the world for me, right? So I wake up at 3:30. I'm either researching, reading, or I'm writing. So I was writing, and in the middle of writing, it came to me in rhyme form. So in the middle of me writing an essay, it just starts rhyming together, and it takes on a different voice in the writing. So I give it some italics, and next thing you know, I got a couple bars in here, and it's in the middle of an essay. But you can't deny it because it's literary, it's written according to the rules.
Yes.
And I'm just bending them a little bit. Because as you get better and you get to the height of your craft, you start to realize once it becomes an extension of your soul and your thoughts, it's up to you what you do with it. And the rules were actually set for other people who needed guidelines. Those rules are for the people who need the guardrails when they're bowling.
Yes.
I'm bowling strikes, baby, and I might do a strike behind my back today. You feel me? It's how I can play with it now, right?
Yes,
so now the game is wide open and you're allowed to mash up genres now. And since we can mash up genres, you know who wins that? We win that.
Yeah.
You know why we win that? Because we are the creatives. Like I said, we're the source. There are other people who have to follow strict guidelines to keep everything the same. And those people who adhere to systems and the capitalist system, they want everything to stay exactly the same so that they can keep getting the same products. So now a person like me comes along and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to show you I can do this, but I can also do this. So here, y'all take this. This is what y'all need? Cool. This is what I'm going to do for my people. And the more I do for my people, the more they're going to be like, well, you don't even have to do this for us. As long as you're doing this for your people and everybody likes it, cool, we'll give you the money. That's how it works. And I need people to understand that. You can get creative. Show them you can do what they do and then keep going. Leave them behind.
Absolutely. And that's why I said it's like positionless basketball. You're an educator. You're an author. You have a podcast. You have a magazine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no cap you can put on you.
Nah, not at all.
And that's pretty much what you were saying earlier. You know, how you're just diverse and you have to be able to cover many avenues, bro. You can't be one-dimensional at anything.
But the thing about that is that people don't like to do, right? The reason people don't like to do that is because nobody's reaching down and picking the guy that has mad buckets that are medium high. They're picking that guy that has one bucket that's all the way up, right? So everybody's like, I can't take the risk. I'm wasting time. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'm like, yo, bro, you banging your head up against the wall expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. Do your thing. But I'm also in a very privileged position. You got to understand, right? Because I'm an educator and I get paid to be an educator. It's 2021. I've been teaching since 2005, straight out of school, right? Thankfully, I've been gainfully employed for 16 years straight, so I can play around with a rap career. I can play around with a writing career. This ain't the only thing I'm doing. Again, filling up different buckets paid off for me, right? So I encourage people to fill up different buckets. That way you get your 9 to 5, but you also do your artistry thing on the side. And then when you get to a certain position and you don't need that 9 to 5, you did that already. You feel me?
Absolutely.
But that's why I got a lot of criticism coming up because I didn't want to just call women the B word. I didn't want to just be slapping hoes and hustling drugs. That wasn't me. That wasn't how I came up. And plus, I come from an era, Drew, where I ain't really supposed to be talking about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know me? There's certain things. Like I look now and I'm like, y'all recorded this on video?
Silence is priceless, man.
Bro, I was hanging around with people. I wasn't supposed to say anything about what we were getting into or what they were doing, right? So I wasn't about that life in the rap game either. Like, we got to rap about something different. So people would look down and be like, well, since you're not doing this, we can't sign you because we need this. And at the time, I used to think that was my loss. It's their loss. It's their loss because I know I'm building a gold mine. That's how I feel about my kids. It's your loss if you don't see what I'm building. Slow and steady. We're going to get there.
That's why I told my man, I said, I don't take losses, I take lessons.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I love it.
If you don't learn, then it's an L, and that's shame on you. Because everything that fails is for you to either try it better, or maybe it ain't for you. But at least you tried it. You know what I mean? So you can know where you stand as a man to yourself.
Yes, sir.
Instead of waiting 20 years and thinking to yourself, damn, I should have tried this then. I should have done this then. I should have,
Yep.
because then these are the same people that when they have children, they try to do it through them. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And that's what I can't stand. I
Yep.
can't stand that. I don't respect that. Like, you have these people putting their kids on the camera like this, asking people for things and just doing too much. Like, let your kid be a kid, bro.
Yep.
Let your kid be a kid and worry about what you need to worry about. Being the most famous person in the room doesn't win you anything.
And that's the thing, right? It's like it's easy to get caught up in the cloud of it. And
yeah, man.
And that's the part of it I hate. Now, there's a flip side, right? Like, I can understand if you're going hard because you feel like you can't afford college for your kid or your child, right? I get that. But when you're just doing this to be famous or to get likes,
that's it, man.
You're exploiting your kid, right?
Exactly.
And you're staring your kid down the wrong way because now your kid is into the sneakers of it. Your kid is into the phone of it. Your kid is into the selfie of it, into the live of it. What about the workout of it? What about the reading of it? What about the school and basketball of it? Like, you know, it gets ugly. And then parents want to get mad at other parents, or they want to get mad at other kids because you didn't pass my son the ball and there's a scout here. It's time to shot. Like, yo, bro, what are we doing?
I coached in DYCKMAN, bro, for Kenny. And I had parents, first of all, they thought that because I was coaching, that it wasn't gonna, like, it would just stay there. It can stay there if you keep it basketball, but I'm a man first.
Always.
So if you question me the wrong way, you can ask Kenny about me, bro. Before you do that, ask him, bro. I'm not the one for that. I'm not here for that.
I'm trying to be nice. Trying to be nice.
Kids. I never asked Kenny to pay me nothing. I never asked Kenny to give me anything. I said, you want to give me anything, give me this. The same way you did it for me when I was 12, 13, and 14, I want to pay it back to these kids, you know? And with those kids that I had from the program till this day, I pick up the phone like, yo, what's good? Some of them are having kids. Some are overseas. Some are training. Some are coaches. I'm like, yo, that's so dope.
Word.
You know what I mean? Like, if I was able to help one person while I've been on this earth, it was all worth it. My time here was worth it. But too many people are too worried about their kid and wanting to put them here.
That's right.
To look down at everybody else.
Right.
And it's like, bro, we all from the same place. You know what I mean? Yep. So if it's sports, if it's academics, if it's just life, if you raise a selfish child, he's going to have a lonely life.
Yes. Yes.
Teammates ain't going to like him. Friends aren't going to like him. Girls aren't going to like him. Teachers aren't going to like him. So you're going to raise somebody that nobody's going to like but you, and you're not going to be here for the majority of that kid's life.
That's fact.
So what then?
That's fact.
You know what I mean? And like, that's my issue. That's my issue with the whole people exploiting their children through social media to try to get them modeling jobs and try to get them this and try to get them that. And then when you ask the kid, like, what do you like to do? And the kid will tell you something that you won't even see him doing on Instagram or Facebook or anything, because his dad or his mom got him, no, this is what I have to be to the public. Right. And I just think that that's where they mess it up, because at the end of the day, the NBA is not for everybody.
Nope.
You have a better chance of getting a college education than an NBA career. Why don't we push them that way? Because if my son, I just had a baby boy. He's 1 year old and he's damn near 3 feet tall already, bro.
Wow.
Like, my doctors are looking at me like, yo, what are you doing with him? Like, and you know, everybody knows how I am with the basketball. He got the court. I have a ritual with him every morning. We wake up, we got to get some buckets. So he walks over to the court and all this and all that. But believe you me, the majority of the day is spent teaching them nose, eyes, ears, you know, names, colors, shapes. Like, bro, I'm on it, because at the end of the day, a basketball is only going to take you as far as your body allows you to go. Your brain can keep going. So if I can get my kid into a D1, D2, D whatever, I don't care. He got a 4-year education paid for. Then after that, we can talk about what we doing.
Yo, I went to a D3 school, bro. I went to a D3 school. I walked on, and the doctor told me after we did the physicals and everything, I played for a little bit, and the doctor said, you're not gonna make it, bro. Like, I had jumper's knee and both knees, but that's years of concrete, right? And then I had a really bad basketball injury, and I think it was senior year in high school in Cali. I was in a wheelchair for a couple of weeks. I lost access to my legs, because I had messed up my back, right? And then that injury never really went away. And then there was something wrong with my hands from typing and video game. It was too much.
Yeah,
and then a lot of parents don't understand playing ball in college is a full-time job. Like, you have to go to school, you have to study, then you got like 2-a-days, you got walkthroughs, you got weight room, you got meetings, you got to study playbook. Like, it's crazy, right? So it was a bit much for me. So I went D3 and got an education, and that education has been helping me pay for everything since. So I just want my kids to get the ability to provide for themselves. That's the goal. And I think we forgot that's what the goal was. My wife has my sons doing stocks. I didn't learn about stocks when I was younger. Yep. We opened up our own LLC, which is LABOYZ, right? LABOYZ company, whatever it is. That's a company they're going to have, but they're going to have to learn how to manage that company before it's in their name fully. So we already training them how to work all of that. They know about stocks. They can explain to you how to short sell. They get all of this stuff, right? You mean to tell me I'm going to put all my work into just basketball for them when I don't know I could be building a gold mine somewhere else? We can't limit these kids based on our limited scope, right? Yep. All I knew was basketball coming up. So if they wanted to play basketball, that was a no-brainer. But if they wanted to play soccer, that was a decision. And we let them play soccer. I was coaching flag football for 4 years, man. I don't know nothing about no flag football, but for them, I will. And if that's what they want to do, you know what I mean? And I say all that, but there's one thing I'm not going to let them do. Football. No. The game is, you talk about the way the game is evolving. I don't know if you saw it. That 6-year-old that cracked that.
I was tight, bro. I was mad. God. What? They both lost from that situation. That's head-on-head trauma, bro.
That's concussion early.
Yes, early. And people don't know. You see, this is why we're not playing football.
A concussion is damage to your brain. Like that's literally brain damage, right? You've gone through the cranium and you've affected your brain, and that doesn't just heal because your brain is not supposed to take hits, or else it wouldn't have that big cranium, that skull around it, right? Yep. No, they can't play that sport. But they could do other. You want to do bow and arrow, archery. What do you want to do? Yep. You want to draw? But the number one thing you're going to do is work.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk. We talking commitment. Yeah, you committed to things. That's all I care about. Man. You know.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm seeing is a lot of these kids are a meal ticket.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you know what? If I can get him here, then he can take care of the family. It's like, yo, you really putting a grown man's pressure that you're supposed to be wearing on this 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kid because you missed the bus?
Yeah.
You should have got up early and waited at the bus stop instead of trying to catch it when it was pulling out.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
But you also know that people are not having these conversations, right?
At all.
So you look at, like, we had older homies. First of all, if you just look at the streets, Drew, like we weren't fighting in front of older people.
Yeah.
We weren't cursing in front of the old ladies like that. We take that up the block. If we're in a train car and we about to scrap, yo, let's get off on the platform and scrap. But they'll scrap wherever. They'll scrap with the old ladies, the old men. Why? Because there's no older homies there, right? Yeah. And it started happening with us when the older homies was doing crack or they were selling crack, right? And then the older homies started leaving the hood when they were successful. And then the ones that were sticking around, they were just trying to get high or get by or get some. You know what I mean? So they stopped taking pride in their communities and they started to become free agents, just trying to get whatever they can. And then we started raising young men who didn't have fathers, who was supposed to be looking to these older homies. And instead, they just repeating everything they hear, repeating everything they see. Then you throw in the music, you throw in the movies, you throw in the YouTube, you throw in the world star hip hop. And all they know is this virtual world that exists on Instagram and Snapchat now, where it's cool to do certain things that you looking like, is that really cool, bro? Because you're not getting likes out here in the street.
That's a whole fact. The big homies now, the problem that I'm seeing a lot of also, the big homies want to be the little homies. They want to live that 20-something life in 2021. They mad that they had to live it in 99 and 2000, and you know what I mean? So you don't got the respect from these kids to these big homies. So you got to have the older homie be like, yo, young blood, you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. But it's the same old head that's gonna come up to that kid and be like, yo, let me get $10.
Yep. And that's or who got smoked, right?
Exactly.
And so when you do that, you become on the same level with the kid, and now you're not his old homie, you're his peer or the little homie, like you said, right?
You're an old little dude.
And now if you make this kid feel big before he's earned his way up to that size,
it's over.
Now he's fronting and he's doing things to make it look like he could fill these shoes and fill these clothes. So he got a lot to prove. And any little kid that's in the street that's desperate, that got a lot to prove. I was a kid like that. I had a lot to prove. My pops wasn't around. I ain't have any older homies at like 16, 17. Because at that point, a lot of the older homies had moved out of the hood or they had moved on to older things because I always hung out with the older guys. But they had to go. So now I'm like by myself because I don't hang out with kids my age. Yes, I don't hang out with the older homies. So I'm wilding wherever I go because I'm big. They made me feel like I was big. And then I ain't got nobody to tell me, yo, you big for a different reason, bro.
Yeah.
You feel me? So now I'm out here wilding and I'm barking and I'm fighting and scrapping. You know, I got the little man complex because I'm trying to show that I could fill these shoes.
Yes.
And ain't nobody tell me the way you fill these shoes, go get your education. Yeah. Go fill your brain. Right. You know, I had a cool argument with, not an argument, but you know how you talk trash with kids or whatever. I was talking trash to my sons. And I was like, y'all ain't never going to be smarter than me. They were like, my youngest son was like, yo, I read every day. I was like, I read every day. He was like, yeah, well, I also watch educational videos. I was like, I watch more educational videos. Like, this is what we need.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Don't say and tell another young man, yo, I got mad hoes. I got mad shorties. And I grew up in that era. And you know what happened? All you do is develop an addiction to shorties.
That's it.
You don't get, yo, I can tell you right now, oh, I bagged her back. But what did I get out of that? I didn't make no money out of that, Drew. Nothing. I made no money. I got no education. Nothing. All I was trying to do was impress my older homies and the other homies. And you know what happened when it happened? Either they say, you lying? Oh, word, that's what's up. And then they tell you their story. So you put yourself through all of this to get that for 5 seconds of appreciation?
Of acknowledgement. Yep.
Get out of here, bro. You can keep your acknowledgement. Yo, my circle has become a dot, Drew.
That's a whole fact.
You feel me?
That's
like, because what are we really doing if we sitting here impressing each other, but we're not building anything?
Yeah, we're not doing anything.
If I can't build with you, it's a limited time I can chill with you.
That's a whole fact,
right? So
what's the next step for the whole package? Because, like I said, you got the magazine, you got you're an author, you're a published author, and you have the podcast. So talk to me. Bring me full circle.
The next steps right now, we're promoting the book, right? And we're doing sales basically by ourselves. We pushing it like we would push a mixtape, right?
Where can I get it? Where can we get the book?
Great question. So you go on Amazon.com, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're just gonna type in hashtag LABOYZ, right? LABOYZ, just like that. You see it with the Z. Hashtag LABOYZ is the first thing you see. All right. Okay. So hashtag LABOYZ with the Z. You go up there. The book is only $15 for the paperback. A lot of people have been getting the paperback because it's like a movement and they want to document and commemorate that, right? So we're pushing the book right now. The next thing I want to do is I want to start doing live shows like I used to do the rap shows.
Nice.
So I'm coming for the Lit Bar in the Bronx. There's another Bronx bookstore I'm coming for. I want to go downtown. I also want to see if I can get in some of these lounges and bars and do it. I want to do it, and it's easy, right? Because all I got to do is get my people in there drinking and listen and smoking hookah or whatever. They're gonna spend money and they're gonna listen to poetry, play some music, have some other poets in there, maybe have a rapper or two in there, have a party, bro, have a celebration. Every time I do a show, it's a celebration and it's a love for the community. So I want to do some shows like that. Okay. Then I want to put out some more books, and in these books. So, like I told you, the books are split up in different sections. I want to put out books where I can just put out a book of haikus. I can just put out a book of essays. I can just put out a book of those rants or the free form or whatever I'm doing, right? And get people reading in shorter stints and have people looking for it. Then put out more books from other people as well. Start my publishing company. On the flip side, and I'll tell you this, I got an idea I'm working with to take back education in our neighborhoods, right? And so the idea is to turn rec centers into educational centers, right? So like we used to have the boys club and the boys and girls club, we still have, right? But instead of just having a place where kids go to just play, the main focus is for them to go to get education. And it's not just for them to get education, it's for the community. We're gonna have something for the adults at night. We're gonna have different types of specialized, like the reason it's so dope to do education in this way is because I don't have to jump through the channels and get it approved by the educational programs in New York City, because if you ask me, they don't know how to teach our kids in the first place.
At all. Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
So we're going to take back education and start teaching our own kids. So I'm working on that as well. I also want to work on that the essay thing I was telling you about and putting through that anthology. And I want that to become a movement and eventually a website where other people could chime in and answer these prompts too that I didn't necessarily select. And we can get the conversation going. Right. A lot of people are like, yo, L, why don't you do, you do well with organizing and you write well. Why don't you get into politics? The problem is when you get into politics with your goal and you lose sight of your goal because politics becomes about the favors you can do for people and the backs you can rub and the hands you can shake. And it becomes more about the networking and less about the message and the meaning of you even being in politics, because politics is about representation. I'm supposed to be representing my community. If I get into politics and I'm sitting here representing other people who are representing other people, what happened to my community and who's looking out for them? So circumvent all of that and just do it in the hood and do the exclusive way. You get your rec centers. And now how political is that? That's super political when you think about it, minus the politics.
Minus the BS. Me? Facts.
So I want to open up a chain of those. And then I just want to get to a position, Drew, where everything I do is an honest depiction of how I am, how I'm feeling, right? And I don't want to have to move strategically anymore. If I said it, I meant it, period. If I did it, I meant it. That's it. Gotcha. That's my goal, my life goal. And to just empower other people to live the same as long as they're living in their truth. That's it.
No, that's what's up, man. That's dope, man. We need more people like that, because I just feel that the majority of the people that I see online that are all about the kids, my thing is this. If I have to show the world what I'm doing every day for acknowledgement, it's not coming from here.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, when I first started coaching basketball, I volunteered in a junior high school where in DYCKMAN. I was coaching 7th grade and 8th grade boys and girls.
Okay.
Then I got a little older. I started putting kids together from the neighborhood every year, and I will put them in DYCKMAN. Just you know, if I can get you out off the block for an hour, 2 hours a day, is cool.
That's it.
Then I got with Kenny. Kenny had me coaching Rubble in the Bronx. He had me coaching UDC, Black Butter, Boys Club, everywhere. I was doing the city tour with these kids. And never once was it about, yo, Ken, you think you could let me hold, or yo, the van needs gas, or I'm like, yo, bro, what time is the games? Where's my kids? I'll talk to you later.
That's right.
Nowadays, it's like, oh, wait, come over here. Oh, I'm coaching the kids because I love the kids. You're taking a picture of yourself, saying that you're doing this so that everybody can say, "Oh, he's such a good dude."
It's not genuine.
What they're doing, and it's not. It's more for them, which, even with that said, they can't do anything with the attention anyway.
No, and then but the other thing is the reason why they have to act like this is because the parents treat their kids like free agents. So now I gotta show what I'm doing because this will get me more just in case this kid leaves or this kid left me. So now I gotta show. So the parents make it seem like, well, we the customer, please us, right? And I'm flipping through. Well, you don't have that many posts, so I'm not taking my kid there. You know what I mean? It's ugly. It's ugly. And I tell my people, yo, whenever I get into situations where it seems like it's about to be, and this is what people don't understand about me, because they see me as an educator. And they see me as an author and they hear me talking peacefully. Drew, I wasn't always like this. You know what I mean? Yep. I was a street kid, and I used to spend a lot of time in the street. And you know how it is when you're in the street, bro. You got to hold your own, right?
Yeah, facts.
I don't deal with conflict or beef the same way other people do. Like, I was out there by myself. So what we doing? You know what I mean? So now when I get to these events and people want to be shady or they want to treat my kids a certain way or act a certain way to me or my wife, I remove myself from the situation, right? And the reason I remove myself from the situation is because I brought my sons to a children's event. What are we doing? This ain't about me. It's not about you as an adult. If my son is having fun, my son is getting experience, my son is learning, we here.
That's it.
Right? But if something's about to get in the way of that, or y'all about to target me or my wife, we out. Because there are other programs. So all I care about is, are my sons learning, enjoying themselves, and building relationships? And are other kids learning, enjoying, and building relationships. I go to Guard Fam. And it's funny when I go to Guard Fam because I go to Guard Fam to have my sons train, and Coach A and Coach B will be like, yo, L, I got to go do this down here. I need you to do this with these kids. And I'm like, yo, bro, I told you I'm not coaching anymore. And they're like, L, you can't stay away from the kids. So next thing you know, I'm in a shirt and tie, running them through stretches and running them through drills and stuff like that. But that's because that's what we do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, these are our babies in our community.
Exactly.
And you better put love in. My mother says it all the time. With kids, you get what you put in. You get out what you put in, right? You put love into these kids, they're going to put love into their communities and put love into the next kids. If you treat these kids like jerks, you walk up to them like, what's up, scrub? Guess what they're going to do to the little mans? What's up, scrub?
Yep.
But every time I walk up to a kid, what's up? How's school? Yo, I remember you were telling me about this. How'd that go? So now when my son's walking the gym, yo, London, what's up? Heard you got injured. You all right? And I'm looking like, yo, it's coming full circle.
Yes.
So if you can't get in that circle, we got to go. We got to go. And I don't think enough parents believe that. I think parents believe they got to put up with certain stuff. And I think parents believe they got to be a part of certain stuff just so their kids can have an opportunity. And it's not true. We can make our own, Drew.
The parents are worrying too much about putting their kids next to who they think their kids need to be next to. If I put my kid next to the kid that got the 50,000 followers and all this and all that, they're going to look at him too. Like, let your kid be a kid, man. Let your kid, let it be about your kid, bro.
I know. So Pete, like, we see how much Scooter, how many likes and views he gets, how many likes Mel and Reem get, right? I know them. They know my sons. That's it. Like, they're cool. I'm not sitting there saying, I've asked Scooter one time, yo, can we work out? Because we didn't have somewhere to work out that day. Other than that, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We still fam. Same with Big Heck and Little Heck. Those guys are over our house all the time. Not for clout, but that's my guy. Like, me and Heck, we play cards together. Heck has me helping him coach our youngest son's team, 2031 for Riverside. He don't, like, I don't need to get paid. I don't need clout. Like, I'm there strictly to support my brother. That's my boy. You feel me? So, like, if something goes down and they're like, yo, he got to lead the team, then I got to lead the team because I'm only here for him.
Loyalty.
We don't. Wait, remember that? Remember loyalty? Remember when that used to happen? So I'm not about the clout chasing, bro. And even now, it was hard for me to accept the fact that, like, I created a book because I don't want people to see me coming and be like, here he coming, this dude is always selling something, or this dude is trying to get famous. I'm not about that, bro. I'm like, I like that people are asking me for it. It makes it easier because I hate having to sell my friends stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I'm not about that.
No, and I appreciate that, bro, because like I said, more people with that mentality, we win as a whole.
Yeah.
Instead of that, oh, well, he might be doing the same thing I'm trying to do, so you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even about that, bro. It's not even about that. And I don't think enough people do it, but the kids are being led that way from little. So by the time this kid is 8 or 9, 10 years old, he's feeling himself. Oh no, because I played against this dude and I'm ranked this and that kid that and this. And it's like, bro, first of all, the trip ain't even start yet.
For real.
The trip ain't even start yet.
You're not getting
ranked in 2nd grade and 3rd grade and 4th grade. That does not help you.
They're not handing out NBA deals to 4th graders.
Exactly. Or scholarships.
So what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Hopefully they figure it out, man, because I just think that these kids, and it's not the kid's fault if the kid is being led that way from birth. He doesn't know anything. If you teach a kid something wrong is right, he ain't going to see it wrong.
That's right.
And that's just what it is.
That's right.
You know, so
right about that.
Like I said, I just appreciate what you're doing and everything you stand for. And that's why when you reached out to me, I was like, how could I not? You know what I mean? Like, that's the vibe. Then I seen you have my big homie up there on your show. I'm like, why not? It's only right.
Yes, sir. It's all family, bro.
That's how it needs to stay, bro. It needs to stay that way. And I just think that if enough people start worrying about what the person next to them was doing and seeing how they can do something together instead of I'm gonna do this to say I did this better than you. It's too much of that, man. It's too much of that. And it's not helping anybody. It's not benefiting anybody. It's not benefiting these kids. I can care less about the adults. Because my thing is this: your time came and went, bro. If you ain't figure it out, if you don't have the job that could pay your bills right now, and you're not in a position that you wanted to be in as a man, it's because you didn't really think about this game called life.
That's right.
You was playing games all through life. And now that life got real, you don't know what to do. You're responsible for a whole nother life, and you don't even have yours in order. Yeah. So it's like, you know, I can't fault the children.
You can't. It's tough.
If you can get enough of them on the right page, I think it'll save them.
And that's what I believe. And I have to believe that. And I think the children are going to be easier to get to, because the children are not only like more open-minded because they're children and they're not jaded yet, but also because their communities, I mean, not their communities, their entertainment, the things that they're into are more about open-mindedness. So now you look at the video games they play, you look at the music, even the music is so different, right? You could have, you're not just going to have everybody doing Tupac and Biggie and 50 Cent and Ice Cube. You got Kendrick Lamar, but then you also got Tyler, the Creator. Right? J. Cole. Oh, my God. That freestyle he just put out was like...
stupid.
Yo, he's from our generation. I'm telling you, man. He's been reincarnated. I don't know who he was before.
He reclassified.
Facts. He reclassified, bro. He ain't in that class, bro. That's the great. Yo, I'm using that. I'm gonna tell everybody what Drew said. He reclassified. Yeah, but I think the game is wide open, man. And I think we gotta, like you said, we gotta stop looking at either or and start looking at and. And a lot of people had us looking at either or because they need us separated. And I truly believe Black and brown people are the resource, and they want to keep us separated so that we can't build together.
And we fall for it.
Yeah, we do. We fall for it, and they dangle distractions and status symbols in front of us. You see me driving around. I'm not driving around in no Benz. You know what I mean? I'm humble enough that I just need to get from point A to point B, bro.
That's it. It's a car. What is it gonna do once I park it?
That's it. That's it. And I don't need too many of them joints. The only reason we need 2 cars right now is because sometimes our twins play on different teams, and then the baby plays on a different team, or they got different events. We got to keep up. That's the only reason. And even if we didn't, we would make it. We make it work. But we're not out here. We're not out here bruising egos and damaging friendships to look better than anybody else.
Nah, man. Because at the end of the day, and you know what? Another thing is that. What the fuck? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. This shit just cut off. I'm like, what the fuck? Another thing is you have these parents that are just like, who is he? What did he do? What's his, what's his resume? Yep. Let me tell you something. My one of my best friends, if not my best friend, Lefty, works downtown at a program called Steady Buckets.
Okay, right? Yeah.
He got 3 pros under his belt that kids that came up with him, right? Before he got to the Steady Buckets thing, right? So he's working with these kids. These dudes went on to play, 2 guys and a girl. They went on to play basketball, high school, college, pro, right? He gets to the Steady Buckets program. And I don't care if they see this. The dude that runs the program wouldn't have the program if it wasn't for my twin. Because my man Lefty went in there and turned how people look at basketball around. You know, you'll get the people that'll say, oh, but who is he? Where's he from? Yeah. But then you go look. He coached Donovan Mitchell. He coached Eric Pascal. He brought me Donovan Mitchell and Eric Pascal to Dyckman when they was in high school to play on my team, when I had the high school and the unlimited teams.
That's tough.
But if you just look at him, you'll be like, who's this Spanish dude?
Yeah.
Teach me basketball, light skin, gray hairs, like him, and not know that the dude is a beyond a student of the game. Like I tell him, I coach. I'm good at what I do, but I'm not like you. You see the game different. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to coaching, if I gotta stand next to you, I'm a motivational speaker. And I've won my share of tournaments. I took Dyckman back to back to back. You know what I mean? With my kids. And unlimited is something different. I take more pride in what I did with the children.
Always.
You know what I mean? Because my unlimited teams were stacked, but those are grown men. Those are pros.
And anything can happen.
Yeah, like you don't really got to do as much with them. With the kids, it's like, yo, listen, stop doing that because this is why that's happening. You know what I mean? And everybody don't care about that. They care more about saying, I'm coaching a team in Dyckman. I'm standing out here at half court in Dyckman, but not worrying about what these kids are getting out of the experience. Every kid wants to play in Dyckman. Every kid don't want to lose, man.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So just getting them there ain't enough.
That's right.
And too many people are worried about, I had this kid out here and I had that kid out here. Do those kids even know you, or is this?
That's the other thing. Like, they don't even remember the experience, man. These kids play so many basketball games, and some of them, like Mel, who play for like so many different coaches. When you sit here and you claim Magic Mel like you did something, come on, bro.
Cut it out.
Come on, bro. Stop that.
Cut it out.
You just used him to put his name on your resume. That's literally all you did.
That's it.
And Mel was out there balling the way Mel balls. That's it.
Since diapers, Scooter been on them two boys.
That's it, man.
You know what I mean? So I just think that consistency in the right areas will bring us back to where we gotta be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As a whole.
Yes, sir.
Yo, L, I've held you up for an hour and a half. I appreciate you, champ. I appreciate you for taking the time out to do this.
Yes,
Plug
sir.
your magazine, your podcast, and your book one more time.
Yes, sir. So check me out. I got a couple. I need y'all to pay attention. I got a couple of Instagram links. Check me out at LABOY. That's LABOY _ RAYSOR. LABOY _ Raysor. Also check me out at LR the Poet. That's one word. LR the Poet. And then you can check my magazine out. It's the _ballers _journal, right? On Instagram. And then it's beyond _the _journal for the podcast. I'm going to be on a few more podcasts. I also do a show in the morning now from time to time. It's called On the Way with Raysor, where I just talk about random stuff for about, a couple of stories. And then I'm on my day. So you're going to want to keep up with me. I'm trying to build our communities back, trying to build our society back to what it needs to be. I'm with us. All right. So keep up with me. And cop that book on Amazon. #LABOYZ. Type it in. #LABOYZ. All right. Get this. You need this. Yes. All New Yorkers need this right now. We all need it.
I'm getting that today. I'm ordering that today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Drew, I appreciate you, man. This is awesome, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, champ. Thank you for taking the time out and just sharing your story with my peoples. You already know what it is.
You let me know.
Any other time you want to plug, you want to come up, just chop it up, talk anything, bro. You don't need a reason. You feel me?
I appreciate you. That's exactly what I was going to say. If you need anything, you hit me up, bro. This is love.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, champ. You already know. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Much love.
Yes, sir. You see? We doing big things, man. There's a lot of people in the city, man, putting on for these children, and it's not about themselves. It's what they can do for other people. And, like he said, he got the magazine, he got the book, he got the podcast. He hustling, man. He's doing what it needs to be done. And I can't do nothing but respect that. So I appreciate y'all for taking the time out, rocking with your boy. And you know what it is, man. I see y'all when I see y'all, unless y'all see me first, but I doubt it because I be low like deadbeat dads. You heard?